Now that we know some guidelines for how we can style our code in a consistent manner, let's look at a code example to see if we can improve it by applying the guidelines from the previous video. We know that style is important, and this example will show you why. Let's look at some code from earlier in this course. This doesn't look anything like what we've seen before, and is an extreme example of poorly styled code. We can see that all of the code is on one line, making it very hard to see what's happening in the program. There are no comments to indicate what it is doing, and the names of the variables do not provide any value. Can you understand what its intended functionality is at a brief glance? It's not very likely. Let's see if we can address this by improving the way that the code is styled. The first thing we have to fix is the indentation. All of this code is written on the same line. This makes it very hard to visually comprehend the flow of the program because of how it is structured. If we can't follow the structure of the program, then it becomes difficult for us to understand what the program is doing. Let's separate each instruction onto its own line. This is a definite improvement. Now that we can see a more structured flow of the program, we can see that we have variable initialization section, a for loop, and then we print a value. While this is certainly much better than it was before, it is still hard to understand what the program is doing. We also want to indent sections of the code that lie within a new block, that is, within any for loops or if statements. A simple way of identifying the start of a new block in processing is the use of a curly bracket. We only have one new block in our code, so the indented code looks like this. Perhaps having some more useful variable names might also help us to better understand what our program is doing. We can see that the variable b is being added to in each iteration of the loop. This seems to be a sum variable. Let's name this sum so that we know exactly what the variable is used for. The variable a seems to be the number that we stop at, but it isn't very descriptive. Let's change this to be called stop. This is looking much better already. The only thing left to do is add some helpful comments. The comments will help anyone reading this code to understand what it does at a glance. We only need to add a few comments here because the code is actually fairly simple. However, we wouldn't have known this before we fixed the style. Can you see what the program does now? We started out with a program that was very hard to understand, to a program that is clear and descriptive. Anyone could look at our newly styled code and understand what it does and how it works without having to explore the code.